Heyo, welcome to Omnibros Live on a Thursday night. I'm OmniDog, and I am joined, as usual, fabulous co-host Ryleymo, the Omnibus Collector himself. How's it going, Riley?
It's going good tonight. How you doing tonight?
Oh, god dang it. I made that mistake I made that mistake last night and Monday night. Holy smoke.
What'd you do?
I keep leaving my YouTube on. But now it's off.
I left mine on too, and then I just started hearing you saying it again.
Oh.
I just heard the echo.
Well, we're going to be joined by Omar shortly.
And maybe Gabe later tonight.
Perhaps Gabe. He's at dinner right now. But Riley, if you were in the United States and you wanted to find trade collected editions of your favorite comic books for up to 50% off with a loyalty discount, orders over $50 get free shipping in the United States, fabulous packaging, and the best customer service on the planet, where would you go?
What is InStockTrades.com?
For $200, that is correct.
Yes.
The answer is very good. Very good indeed. In Stock Trades. I am expecting a 50-pound package from them tomorrow.
Jeez.
35 pounds of it, probably the Infinity box set.
I remember a few years back. Get out of the way. I remember a few years back when I was still living in my first apartment, I got 2 boxes at the same time from In-Stock Trades of like 30 pounds each. I have no idea. I don't remember what was in them. I think I had just ordered like 2 months of books because I had no money for a while. Then all of a sudden when I had it, I was like, yeah. And it was quite the chore to carry those 2 giant boxes all the way from the like offices where they had our mail all the way back to my apartment on the other side of the complex.
Oh God.
So whenever I think about like large packages, I just like have like flashbacks to that. But hold on one second. My wife was just calling me on the phone. She's out, so I'm going to see what's up with that.
Okay. Right, I see Omar is in the chat, but not on the show. Omar, what are you doing? Why aren't you on the show and you're in the chat? That's weird. So I'm going to vamp. He's eating pretzels. Okay, so I'll show you what I got today. I got this bombshell. This is pre-order stuff from last year, before the budget set in. And then I got this. Oh, there's Omar. I don't have to show my statues off anymore.
Were you killing time by showing off your statues? Where's Riley? I thought Riley was with you.
Riley had to take a phone call.
And you started the panic?
Well, I did. Yeah, I did. I got some statues today in the mail, and I thought, well, I'll just show my statue until Riley comes back, because Omar's just in the chat.
I wasn't in the chat. I was going to join you.
I saw you put up worst show ever.
That's right. How are you doing, man?
Good. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Omar from Near Mint Condition.
I love the way you say my name. It's so ridiculous. Near Mint Condition. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Good to join you guys. What did you guys do? We already have one unlike? You've been on for 5 minutes.
Who unliked us? We didn't do anything. We were just chatting, and then the dog walked across the screen.
A monster that doesn't love dogs unlike the video, man.
Good heavens. I don't know. Are you sure it wasn't you accidentally?
No, I'm not a jerk. All right, so what are we talking about? Why is there a lot of feedback?
Yeah, there is kind of some fuzz going. It may be from Riley's.
Did he dump his headset in the toilet?
He just set it down. I don't think he muted himself.
Oh,
So
yeah.
So the dog could be licking it or something.
All right, so what are we talking about tonight, man?
Tonight we are talking about Marvel's Fresh Start and DC's Black Label. Two new initiatives by the big two that are generating some excitement.
Okay.
Okay, it was Riley's headphones.
What's up?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Yo.
I just came into the chat wondering what you guys were talking about. We're going to talk about some good Marvel refresh, huh?
And some another publishing line for DC.
All right, let's get to it then. Jess, why don't you tell us about these things?
Okay, I sure will. DC's Black Label is right here. DC launches creator-driven Black Label line with Miller, DeConnick, Snyder, and more. DC Entertainment is launching a new imprint, blah, 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 led by former Batman group editor Mark Doyle. The Black Label imprint, blah, 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 blah. Many of our plus, blah, blah, blah.
How do you read your comic books like that?
DC Black Label is scheduled to launch in August with the 3-issue Superman Year One by Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. Other planned titles include Batman Damned by Brian Azzarello and Lee Bermejo, Wonder Woman Historia, The Amazons by Kelly Sue DeConnick and Phil Jimenez.
Hey.
Yeah.
Great artist.
Batman Last Night on Earth by Snyder and Capullo. Wonder Woman Diana's Daughter by Greg Rucka. That's great. And an artist to be announced. And The Other History of the DC Universe by John Ridley and an artist to be announced. Full descriptions on each are here, where I could click it if I wanted to. All these creators are masters of their craft. Blah, 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 blah.
Okay. So I didn't know about that Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. book. This is the first I've heard of that.
Okay, I am clicking on the 6 launch titles where they are Superman Year One, a groundbreaking definitive treatment of Superman's classic origin story in honor of his 80th anniversary. This story details new revelations that reframe the Man of Steel's most famous milestones, from Kal-El's frantic exile from Krypton to Clark Kent's childhood in Kansas to his inevitable rise to become the most powerful and inspiring hero of all time. Batman Last Night on Earth. Batman wakes up in a desert. He doesn't know what year it is or how the Joker's head is alive in a jar beside him. But
I've had drunken nights like that.
But it's
and I'm not Batman.
But it's the beginning of a quest unlike anything the Dark Knight has undertaken before. In this strange future, villains are triumphant and society has liberated itself from the burden of ethical codes. Fighting to survive while in search of answers, Bruce Wayne uncovers the truth about his role in this new world and begins the last Batman story ever told. That's by Snyder and Capullo. Batman Damned, writer Brian Azzarello, artist Bermejo. On a deserted Gotham City bridge, a body is found. Whispers is dead. But is this a dream come true or a nightmare being born? Now, ooh, I like this. Now Batman and DC's outlaw magician John Constantine must hunt the truth through a Gotham City hellscape. The city's supernatural recesses are laced with hints about a killer's identity, but the Dark Knight's descent into horror will test his sanity and the limits of rationality as he must face a horror that doesn't wear a mask. I am up for Constantine in Batman's world.
Are these these take place in continuity, or
It sounds like these are outside of continuity. And I know that when it was the article first hit earlier, it was saying stuff in the same vein of like Dark Knight Returns. So that makes it sound like it's not continuity, but like maybe a little bit more mature than the DC Universe titles.
Right,
so
yeah.
their Ultimate line?
Yeah, that sounds right.
But I don't know if they're all connected though, like the Ultimate line is.
So little pocket universes.
like a whole line of Elseworld miniseries.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Wonder Woman Historia, The Amazons by Kelly Sue DeConnick and Phil Jimenez. A Homeric epic of the lost history of the Amazon and Queen Hippolyta's rise to power, featuring monsters and myths. This three-book saga spans history from the creation of the Amazons to the moment Steve Trevor washes up on the shores of Paradise Island. And Wonder Woman, Diana's Daughter, that's the working title, writer Greg Rucka. It's been 20 years since the world stopped looking to the skies for hope, help, and inspiration. Now the world keeps its eyes down, and the powers that have risen have every intention of keeping things that way. Amongst a scattered, broken resistance, a young woman seeks to reclaim what has been forgotten, and on the way will learn the truth about herself, her heritage, and her destiny. And then there's a last thing called The Other History of the DC Universe, written by John Ridley. I am not familiar with him. Are you guys?
He did 12 Years a Slave, the movie.
Oh, I guess he can write.
He also, I think it's under Vertigo right now, a miniseries called The American Way. I haven't read that, but I 12 Years a Slave was a great film, but great writing in film doesn't always translate to great writing in comics and vice versa. So I want to check out American Way now just to see how his writing translated into comics. I'm sure someone in the chat on there is probably going to be like, that series has been great, or that series is fucking terrible. So we'll find out soon, I guess.
This says a compelling literary series analyzing iconic DC moments and charting socio-political gains through the perspective of DC superheroes who come from traditionally disenfranchised groups, including Jon Stewart, Extraño, Vixen, Supergirl, Katana, and Renee Montoya, among others. It isn't about saving the world, it's about having the strength to simply be who you are. Okay? And that is from Newsarama.
You don't have to give them credit, man.
Okay, it's not
on the last one. I'm curious because it says compelling literary series about the other history of DC Universe. So does that mean it's not going to be a comic? Is it just going to be?
No, it has an artist to be announced.
Okay.
Like DC did that right after Crisis on Infinite Earths, right? Like they did the history of the DC Universe, and then after Infinite Crisis, they did something similar in the backups of the 52 weekly issues. They did a new history of the DC Universe or origin of the DC Universe or something.
And that was where it was like every issue was a different character's origin.
Yeah. So I wonder what this is going to be like, because it sounds like if this is outside of the DC Universe, what's the point of doing a origin of the DC or history of the DC Universe?
Now maybe,
or is this book in the Black Line?
It says that it is, but now it's making me think like, maybe not all of these books are out of continuity, like, it makes it kind of confusing for this Black Label imprint, because everything should be either A or B, in continuity or not in continuity. Theoretically, that would make things make a little more sense. But if this is supposed to be actively pulling from continuity, then it makes it, and stuff like that, it makes it seem like it should be in continuity. But at the same time, you could argue, these other stories, the Batman stories, seem like they're supposed to be pulling a lot from continuity. I know that the Snyder and Capullo story, Last Night on Earth, was supposed to be the next arc of All-Star Batman. And it was supposed to have art by Sean Murphy before it got moved over to this. So I don't know. It's kind of a little bit
That's confusing. The one that I find strange.
The Snyder Capullo one?
Well, the history of the DC Universe. Or
okay.
The new history of the DC Universe, or whatever they're calling it. Yeah.
The other history.
That's the weirdest title, I think, for me, for something that's outside of the main line. And outside of its, if they aren't connected. Unless, like I said, they're building some kind of ultimate universe, which I really don't want to see, but that's just me.
No, I said this before you popped in, Omar, like before we even started the video. I was talking to Jess,
Mhm.
and I was telling him that for me right now, DC's strongest books are coming from their imprints rather than their DC Universe or Rebirth line. I've the past few weeks, especially, like I know it's been happening for me for a while, but the last few weeks, especially, when I've been reading through all the DC titles, I've been less and less enthused by the DC Rebirth titles, uh, save a handful of books like Batman and stuff like that that are consistently great, and more excited about their imprint titles, like the past month when Young Animal had the whole ridiculous Milk Wars crossover. That was the first book that I was reading from DC every week, was whatever Milk Wars issue. And then like all of the Hanna-Barbera stuff is ridiculously entertaining. And then right now Vertigo is not really doing much. There's only like two or three titles maybe right now, but they're supposed to be relaunching Vertigo sometime this year, and that's supposed to bring with it the relaunch of or the third cycle of American Vampire. What other? They have other lines right now, but then like unrelated miniseries, like the limited titles, like Mr. Miracle, are the ones that That's one that I get really excited for. And Mr. Miracle seems like the type of thing they could have put into this Black Label, had they either delayed that series or announced it earlier. And I wouldn't be surprised if like the trade dress for Miracle has a Black Label insignia on it, because it's like a little bit more mature, and it seems like I don't know if it's supposed to be part of continuity or not.
I think I don't know. Things like this new line don't excite me. Maybe because I don't like the idea of different worlds
Good
existing.
comics.
Shut up. I, I don't like the idea of different worlds existing. We've already had Elseworlds. We have Earth 1. I don't see the need for this other line. Um, and not that I'm saying that, every day there's a new reader jumping on, but this would be confusing for somebody that would want to read a DC comic book starting out. And I'm the opposite, man. I'm still enjoying a lot of the DC Rebirth books. I think they're still kicking it. But I know they need some new Vertigo titles because there's really hardly anything left in Vertigo. That's
Are you reading the Rebirth books in single issues or in collections?
most of them in collections, but the ones that I really enjoy, I'm probably about 5 months behind on some of them.
Okay, so you like maybe it'll hit you.
Are you saying I got 5 more months worth of good issues in DC?
Yeah,
Maybe that's what I'm saying.
Riley's hating in real time.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're on that Marvel Unlimited delay. So you get to hate later. But I mean, it's possible that maybe it's just where I am, or maybe it's the amount of stuff that I'm reading, and I don't know what like how many series you're reading. But as far as like the ongoing, just looking at my list right now, like I'm reading 27 different ongoing titles in the DC universe, and so that's a majority of the ongoing DC universe titles. And out of those 27, I'd say maybe 7 of them are ones that I'm actively excited about whenever I read a new issue.
Hey, 7 ain't bad.
It's not great.
That's
Better
a good
than
pull list.
0.
You know how expensive your monthly comic book list would be if you were pulling 27 books? I don't have to do the math for you. But I'm just saying 7 is about the amount of titles that I would get when I was younger. I don't know. I think I'm still enjoying them. I wish they would focus more on maybe taking some of this talent and putting it on books that are still in the DC Rebirth. Otherwise, people like you are going to lose interest. Like, what's to keep somebody from, when I guess Brian Michael Bendis takes over, people are going to try that out. The people that are reading Superman, but
Right.
I mean, I haven't been burnt out on Tomasi's run or, for that matter, Jurgen's run on Superman. I think it's still good. It's still fun. I don't mind these long. I mean, I come from a time, when sometimes comic book writers would stay on for years
Mhm.
instead of getting excited for somebody to be on for like a year. So like it really shocks me that people like Jason Aaron are still kicking it on Thor. Like that's awesome. Like that's hard to see these days. And for that matter, Capullo and Snyder on Batman. So
And
I'm happy that some of these creative teams are staying, but I wish they would focus like, you know, not that I'm excited about Frank Miller writing anything or haven't been in a long time, but I wish that they would pump that kind of excitement back into the Rebirth line to keep it fresh. I guess they can't keep calling it Rebirth though, whatever they're calling it now.
DC Universe.
Yeah, I think they're just calling it DC Universe, and they have like the new age of heroes, most of which those titles have not been good. Terrifics was terrific, I'll say that.
Yeah, I haven't read that. I'm really looking forward to that.
It was one of those issues where it's just like I wish that I had a lot more in front of me right now. Really, really good first issue. But like I know what you're saying, like it's not so much of the idea of like I need something fresh and I need new creators and new runs all the time, because the titles you're mentioning are the ones that I'm still enjoying. But the thing like for like Superman by Tomasi, he's absent on so many issues, and the book it's like you feel it. It's like a punch in the gut when it's an issue without Tomasi writing it. And then I think his last arc is coming up right now, and that kind of has me a little bit disenchanted because I know that his run is ending, and I really don't know how to feel about Bendis just completely overhauling the Superman line. But also, I guess I should be a little bit more excited for what's about to come, because post Metal they have the whole retooling of the Justice League line, which has been I think suffering a little bit, even though Priest has taken over on Justice League and his arc has been good. It's knowing that it's only a single story arc and not an extended run, and he's not going to be able to do more things with those characters. Kind of, as soon as I found that out, I was like, man, that kind of blows. Like, it almost makes this arc inconsequential, even though it's been pretty good.
I see what you're saying.
And
so
Tom King's Batman has constantly been aces for me.
Yeah,
that's good to hear.
It's a solid read.
The newest issue, not this week, but a couple weeks ago, is the first part of a Poison Ivy storyline. The artwork was some of the absolute best that we've seen on the title. And
who was the artist?
I think it was how do you say Janin? Janin? Mikkel Janin?
I'm not familiar with that name. I'm sure I've seen their art before.
He's been on the series. He's one of the rotating artists on that title. At least let me look. I'm pretty sure that he's the one that's doing it right now. Okay. Yeah, it's his. So he's one of the rotating artists that's been on there. The first thing I remember seeing him on was one of the Flashpoint tie-ins. I think it was Dead Man and the Flying Graysons. That was the first time I saw his artwork. He also did some work on Justice League Dark when the New 52 started up. And he's got this really nice, clean style, but it lent itself so perfectly to this Poison Ivy story that just started last issue, number 41.
I think I know who you're talking about now, just based on the description of his art style. He was a rotating artist in Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that dude's art too.
But yeah, that series, Batman has been fantastic. Like that's one of the ones that is always impressing me. Like it's at the top of my list for.
But
DC
that's
books.
just one of the titles, right? What about you, Jess? What do you think about the Black Line? You ready for a new start, or?
Oh yeah, I think it's interesting. All those titles interested me a lot, especially the one with Constantine and Batman. That to me, excuse me, all those writers and artists are favorites of mine. I have to say I'm a little bit worried about Frank Miller, as you are. His recent work for the past 20 years. Excuse me a sec. His recent work has been uneven, to say the least.
Yeah. Had you said Frank Miller is coming back to do a Superman story pre-Dark Knight Strikes Again, I would have been like, oh, awesome. I'm all in. Every variant cover. But
Right.
post Dark Knight Strikes Again, not so.
Yeah, that's the only one I'm a little bit worried about. I will have a morbid curiosity and will read it anyway. So I yeah, I'm way up for it, and I'm still interested in Rebirth, but I'm like Omar, I'm still trade waiting everything, so I'm not up to date at all. But I still find it really fun and fresh. But I did have a question for you too. Are either of you interested and or excited, or what are your thoughts on this new Sandman universe that's going to be happening?
I forgot about that. I know it just got announced like a week ago, but I completely forgot about it.
Well, that's why I'm reminding you now.
Yeah, I think maybe we talked just a little bit about it. I think it's okay as long as I know how much Neil Gaiman loves that property. I know how much he loves and cares about those characters, and as long as he kind of oversees that, I'm okay. And I mean more than just getting a paycheck. I mean actually like looking at the plot outlines and making sure things are okay with him before they do something crazy with the character. Because I mean we've always had some kind of Sandmanish title out there, like Lucifer or The Dreaming or Books of Magic, and actually I think all three of those books are coming back if I'm not mistaken, right?
At least
Like
two of those three.
in some way, and then we're gonna get House of Secrets and House of Mystery, or one of those two. So I don't know. It looks like it's got some talent, and then other people I've never heard of. Not to say that it's gonna be horrible, but I'm willing to give it a shot. That as long as now, is this for sure outside of the DC universe, or are they trying to put these characters into the DC universe?
I don't know that either, and I think that's kind of difficult to say right now, considering how many properties that they've been swallowing into the Rebirth and current DCU titles. Like Tom Strong is appearing in Terrifics, and
yeah.
What's that other Promethea in Justice League of America? The whole Doomsday Clock thing, coincidence, a bunch of Alan Moore stuff.
That's why I don't understand this whole Black Line. I'm sorry, I keep going back to that. We'll get to the Marvel here in a second. But, they're trying to make us believe that all these universes are now one, right? So then why try to do it again? Why try to use that formula again? Unless, of course, they're a business, so I'm sure most of it has to do from a money perspective, like why they need to have a number one with Frank Miller's name on it.
Did you say that all these universes are one, as in like we have that map of the multiverse from Multiversity?
Right. Ever since Infinite Crisis, right? We were. Right. I mean, Crisis on Infinite. The original Crisis was supposed to fix this. No more confusion. No more Golden Age, Silver Age. No, everything's one. And then they kind of within a year fucked that up. And then Infinite Crisis was like, no, we're serious this time. No more. And then Flashpoint actually was the first time I was like, oh, this might actually be it with the New 52. This might actually be just one Earth. And then, of course, towards the end of the New 52, they reintroduce our Superman. But I'm saying, yeah, with characters like Promethea, with characters like Tom Strong, with characters from the Wildstorm universe that are all in there, it makes it seem like DC has worked really hard to make you believe that this is just one universe. So that's why I find it... I don't know. That's why I guess I'm boggled by why start over with a whole new Black Line? Why not just focus more on your Rebirth titles? But that's just me. That's my opinion.
I think I'm gonna be an asshole and say you've got hang-ups about how the series work rather than like how they're gonna be. Which I mean, that's fine if that's what you gotta have, but like. For me, and I guess for Jess, we're more focused on the creators, and I'm not too bothered by where a story lies in continuity as long as it's enjoyable.
Right, I agree with that.
Because I've read plenty of stories that are not in continuity, and I can see where you're coming from, because it is kind of annoying when you just had some big thing that seemed like it was pulling everything together to make it easier. I think is what you were saying. And we also already have like the Earth 1 line out there, which Earth 1 I think is probably their equivalent to Ultimate Universe. And and now they're doing something else. But I'm not looking at this as like a another universe. It's just contained stories, which contained stories have like always been a thing. I feel like even right now they're doing that White Knight series that doesn't exist in any existing universe.
Right,
It's just,
right.
it's kind of like a little what if type of miniseries. And I guess that's what Elseworlds are. And
Yeah.
that's the
Dude,
best
I would-
equivalent
you know-
I can think of.
I would be completely fine with this as long as they put like an Elseworld stamp on it. Just call it what it is. Don't try to bullshit me with a black line.
Okay,
with a whole new stamp.
So basically, just I think I'm comprehending the issue now that you're having is like basically just let us know if it is supposed to be continuity or not.
Yeah, jumping in ahead of time. Like I would like to know what I'm getting into.
Okay, I can get that.
And,
I understand that.
but I see what you're saying. Like you know, because I've always enjoyed Elseworld Tales or What If or and for that matter, the beginning of the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah.
You're right. It doesn't have to be in continuity to be a great story.
And hopefully that's what we get. And the creators sound like they're there. Like those are A-listers, pretty much. So I'm excited. And I mentioned all that stuff about like me getting bored with the Rebirth line and stuff because I have been enjoying so much more the imprints that they've been doing. And this is just to me adding another probably successful imprint. And as far as the Sandman stuff goes, I didn't get to say on that. I'm going in there, cautiously optimistic is a term I like to use, and that's how I'm going in here. But I'm a little more optimistic just knowing that it seems like it's curated by Neil Gaiman. He introduced it. He came out and talked about which creators he decided to choose for these books, and he seems, of course, he's it's his job, and like you said, he's getting money off of it, but he seemed excited about what was going on. So I want to believe that that's not just a smile put on for a paycheck, but that he really has put work into this line and revisiting the Sandman universe. I don't know if it is part of the DC universe proper. That wouldn't 100% bother me because the Sandman series was kind of, but just a little bit disconnected. But I just don't want to see like these ongoing titles constantly being like, oh, hey, and let's check in with Batman. Because I've got 5 Batman books to do that.
5 shitty Batman books or 5 new ones?
No. A bunch of good Batman books. Batman's good.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the shit out of Batman.
I am too. I was referring to those bad books you bought
a couple
weeks ago.
Hey, I had another one too. It's in I found for extremely cheap the the hardcover of Battle for the Cowl.
Oh.
The Tony Daniel crossover miniseries?
Yeah, the one that 100% did not need to exist. There was literally no point to it because you already knew what was going to happen. It was just everyone bickering for 3 issues.
Yeah.
But I found it for super cheap, and I was like, fuck it. I'll add it to the shelf.
All right. Well, did you guys get everything out you wanted to about the DC Black line? What about you, Jess?
Black Label? Yeah. I'm excited and interested, and I can't add any color to that other than to say yay.
Fair enough. All right. So let's move on over to the competition. Marvel.
Okay. This is every confirmed series for Marvel's fresh start.
Yes, well, confirmed so far. We still don't know the whereabouts of Jonathan Hickman.
Correct.
And Fantastic Four. So
I'm thinking Fantastic Four is going to go to Dan Slott.
Has he been given a title yet?
He's been given Iron Man. But I'm like, I know he's a big fan of the Fantastic Four, and one of the big things about him writing Spider-Man was that he was a huge fan of the character, and they're also putting out a reprint of his Human Torch and his thing titles in
Titles.
one paperback book. So
It's almost like these solicits foreshadow the coming of something else, huh?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a pretty nice pattern to follow.
Yeah. Once you see, well, then again, we've seen the Jonathan Hickman Ultimate Collections on the Fantastic Four. That's why I was thinking maybe, man, my dream team would just have Jonathan Hickman and Mark Waid doing a different story arc in Fantastic Four, so it could be like a bi-weekly book. I would love that, but that's just wishful thinking. Now that Mark Waid is back at Marvel. All right, Jess, what's new? What is confirmed for sure?
Well, there's a lot of titles, so I'm not going to go too deep into them. Number one is Avengers with a creative team of Jason Aaron and Ed McGuinness.
That will last about 5 issues.
The team's roster will also include Iron Man, Captain America, Thor Odinson, Doctor Strange, Ghost Rider, She-Hulk, Black Panther, and Captain Marvel. It's a good thing, too, because Earth's mightiest heroes are sure to have their hands full when they're forced to save the world from the impending threat of the Celestials.
Ooh, the Celestials.
Number 2 is Venom. Creative team fan favorite Donny Cates, or Jess Bragg favorite Donny Cates, and Ryan Stegman, Eddie Brock, the Venom symbiote, and a threat that's 1,000 years in the making. That's what's at the heart of the new All Venom series. Let's see. The greatest Venom stories to me are at least a mixture of the alien outside and the human inside, says Donny Cates.
He's going to be at a convention near here on Saturday. Let's try to go and see him.
Oh, hit him up for info.
Yeah, I'll see what's going on. What's your Venom? I'll get him really drunk, and he can tell me the first story arc.
An OmniBros exclusive. Number 3 is Black Panther. These are all getting renumbered to number 1, by the way. These are, and I'm sure you guys have thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
I bet. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Black Panther creative team is Coates and Daniel Acuna. First teased in Marvel Legacy number 1. Readers will be transported to the intergalactic empire of Wakanda in the pages of Black Panther. I can't emphasize enough how clean of an entry point this is for new readers, editor Will Moss told Newsarama.
I told you about that shit.
I know, sorry. Going to the next slide. Immortal Hulk by Ryleymo favorite Al Ewing and Joe Bennett, bringing Bruce Banner back into the fold of the Marvel Universe, and as the name Immortal Hulk implies, there's no keeping this green Goliath down. Spinning out of the events of No Surrender, the series will explore a whole new dynamic between Banner and the Hulk with a decidedly horror-fueled tone. That sounds interesting. Doctor Strange, written by Mark Waid, Jess Bragg favorite, and Jesus Saiz. Sorcerer Supreme's fresh start makeover comes to us courtesy of Mark Waid, and that guy I just said, who planned to take the character to deep space with a little help from Tony Stark after he loses his connection to the Earth's arcane power. 6, Thor, bearded Thor. He has a beard. Creative team Jason Aaron and Mike Del Mundo.
So Jason Aaron's thing on the book.
Right. Fans of certainly blah, 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 blah. The Odinson will once again reclaim his mantle, as well as artist Mike Del Mundo. However, he'll also have to reclaim the artifacts of Asgard, which have been scattered across Earth in his absence. And if that's not bad enough, he'll have to deal with the unstoppable Juggernaut as well. Okay, that's Thor. 7, Ant-Man and Wasp, 6-issue miniseries by Mark Waid and Javier Garron. Just in time for the arrival of their big screen counterparts, Ant-Man and Wasp are slated to headline their own miniseries. Trapped in the microverse, Scott Lang's only chance of escape is Nadia Pym. The pace and tone of the story is crazy fast and crazy fun. So by the end of Ant-Man and Wasp has already happened. So by the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, this is not written properly, has already happened a lot of stuff. Garen told. That wasn't written properly. That wasn't me.
I was hoping you saw something that you were like, I can't believe my eyes. They're gonna run into the Micronauts.
What, ROM?
Number 8, Tony Stark, Iron Man. Creative team, Dan Slott and Valerio Skeety. Somebody. This is like I'm reading my playlist again with all these mispronunciations. Returning from the dead is never easy, and it sounds like that will factor heavily into this brand new series. As a futurist, Tony Stark thought he had all the answers, but since coming back from the dead, he now sees the Marvel Universe in a whole new light. How does Iron Man continually evolve and stay relevant in a world where technology advances on a daily basis? Captain America. Oh, Coates is writing that with... Oh, you guys are killing me. Yu. His last name is Y-U. I'm not even going to go for his first name. Lionel Yu.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm totally poking around in the dark here, you can tell. Steve Rogers will not only still be dealing with the aftermath of Secret Empire, but he'll also have to deal with a threat known as the Power Elite. Thus, Captain America is not so much tied to America as it is, but to an America of the imagined past. And Captain America, the embodiment of a kind of Lincoln-esque optimism, poses a direct question. Why would anyone believe in the dream? What is exciting here is not some didactic act of putting my words in Captain America's head, but attempting to put Captain America's words in my head. What?
That was Coates saying, like...
Yeah, what is exciting here is not some didactic act of putting my words... Oh. My words in Captain America's head, but attempting to put Captain America's words in my head. Okay, got it. That was my fault, not the writing. 10, The Amazing Spider-Man. Creative team Nick Spencer and Ryan Ottley. Fan favorite Ryan Ottley from Invincible. But a revelation from the past that puts Peter Parker's job, relationships, and whole life in jeopardy. It doesn't really say what's going on in this, except he will face an alien invasion. And that's really about all that they give on that. 11, Life of Captain Marvel, which is a 5-issue miniseries. Margaret Stoll, Carlos Pacheco. When crippling anxiety attacks put her on the sidelines in the middle of a fight, Carol finds herself reliving memories of a life she thought was far behind her. You can't outrun where you're from, and sometimes you have to go home again. But there are skeletons in Captain Marvel's closet, and what she discovers will change her entire world. Ghost Rider, 5-issue miniseries. Creative team Donnie Cates and artist to be announced. No information on that, but expect to hear more on this hellish Frank Castle from the... What?
That was a spoiler right there.
Frick, from the far future soon. I didn't do that. I just read it. 13, Multiple Man, 5-issue miniseries. Creative team Matthew Rosenberg and Andy McDonald. Jamie Madrox may have been killed from exposure to the Terrigen Mist in 2016's Death of X, but even he's getting a fresh start. Our book starts off with someone finding Jamie very not dead, Rosenberg told somebody. So the mystery of why he isn't dead and how to save himself is a big driving force of the story. Quicksilver, coming in at number 14, No Surrender, by Black Bolt fabulous writers Saladin Ahmed and Eric Nguyen. Now that interests me because I really love Black Bolt. Spinning out of Avengers No Surrender storyline is an all-new 5-issue miniseries featuring Marvel's resident speedster Quicksilver. I don't want to say too much because of spoilers, but at some point in No Surrender, Pietro finds himself in a kind of frozen reality. He could do that for little stretches when he went into his super speed, but now he can't get out of that. So he's sort of stuck wandering a frozen earth. Even though he's surrounded by billions of people, they're all out of sync with him. He quickly discovers, though, that there's something else out there, something malign that seems to be taking victims from among the frozen people around him. Oh, and this one I am very excited for. Number 15, Deadpool by Scotty Young and Nick Klein. I like to write stories that move fast and keep you on the ride, Young told somebody, and I like to try and make you laugh while someone is getting their arm broken or head exploded. Similar to my run on Rocket, I like doing shorter stories and have threads that weave in and out. Okay, last entry is the Sentry. See what I did there? Creative team, Jeff Lemire, Kim Jacinto. After being reintroduced to the Marvel Universe in last December's Doctor Strange 382, the Superman pastiche known as the Sentry will headline his very own series. Sentry is a fascinating character, Lemire told blah, blah, blah. I absolutely loved the original Sentry series by Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee when it first came out. You cannot have the Sentry without the Void, but what I was very conscious of was not simply retelling the same stories that have been told in the past with Sentry and Void. I want to see their relationship and their characters evolve and go in new directions. And that is all I have on that. Fresh start. Thoughts?
So, a lot of cool creative teams, a lot of cool books so far, and I'm sure we're only gonna find out more and more in the coming weeks, as more solicits are coming out. First thing, obviously, like you mentioned, everything's getting a new #1, so that means Marvel pretty much fucking lied when they said no more new #1s for a while at least.
They also said no more mutants. Dead means dead.
Yeah. So House of Ideas is a house of lies, and if you haven't learned that yet, then I don't know what to tell you.
House of Lies.
Yeah, DC has the House of Mystery and the House of Secrets, and Marvel has the House of Lies. But I'm upset that just because, not because of the outcome of the lie, the fact that there are new #1s, but the fact that they decided to make the comment in the first place. And part of what was so upsetting to me about that is that basically they did something that just makes them look fucking stupid. And that was, and I've said this multiple times to you guys in other chats and stuff like that, they jumped the gun and they released the Legacy one-shot like 9 months ahead of when it should have been released. That one-shot should have been saved for like this April. Because April, I think, is when everything of the old runs are ending and all the new runs are beginning. And it's very clear that everything that was in that Legacy one-shot is exactly what all of this stuff was alluding to. The Avengers team in the new Jason Aaron book is basically the same as the BC Avengers that we saw in that Legacy one-shot. Like, they had BC versions of, it was Odin instead of Thor, and we had like a Phoenix, and we had I think a Black Panther was in there, and Iron Fist was in there. So like a lot of those characters are overlapping. So it's very clear that he's going to probably be using that BC Avengers stuff there. The Black Panther intergalactic stuff it even mentioned in the stuff that you were reading here that it was first teased in Marvel Legacy #1. So that's just a couple of examples, but it's very clear that Legacy should not have started back at the end of last year. It shouldn't have started with renumbering all of the ongoing titles with almost 100% of the same creative teams. It's very clear that Legacy should have started this spring instead, leading into the summer. And it's so dumb, and it makes them look stupid for doing something like that, because it just makes it look like they've made up a lie and they have egg on their face because they couldn't hold on to their pants long enough to release things when they should have been released. Like, if DC released the Rebirth one-shot around the time where like issue number 40 of Justice League came out when the Darkseid War was just beginning. Like, why would they do that? It wouldn't make sense for them to tease something that far in advance.
But you are really assuming though that they have a plan. Like, I don't think that was the case with Marvel in that Legacy one shot. I really think they were panicking at this number of cells, and then this whole the anti-social justice warrior movement and all this. They were freaking out. So they were like, okay, we're going to bring back old characters and we're going to do it now, and we're going to put this book together, and eventually these characters will come back. I feel like that's what happened over the summer, and just like that issue came out, and now we were supposed to have the legacy numbers and things like that, and I don't think they had a master plan. I still don't. I don't think things are mapped out ever at Marvel, and haven't been for the longest time.
I think I wouldn't believe that there was a plan if I didn't know that Spencer was taking over Spider-Man, and I didn't know that Coates was taking over Captain America since last year. Like, these things have been talked about for so long, and these runs were all ending at the same time, and like, it was basically, instead of releasing the one shot when they were supposed to, they released it when they started to wind down all of the stuff and started leading into, because I'm sure that Jason Aaron didn't rush the return of Odinson, because he's been teasing it, like releasing certain storylines at certain times. And we got a short run by Mark Waid on Captain America, which just kind of seemed like a palate cleansing filler before getting Coates on there. So I see where you're coming from, but if there wasn't these hints that these creative teams were coming on since last year, then I wouldn't think that there was some sort of plan either.
Maybe it's just me being jaded for the last 5-6 years at Marvel for not planning things ahead of time. It seems like after the X titles, honestly, probably after, I would say after, what was the final crossover, the Second Coming crossover, things, the X-Men universe have almost been a pocket universe of themselves. And the same thing has happened to Avengers. I mean, unless you have somebody like Brian Michael Bendis writing all of the Avengers, then that's about the only time things actually seem to be in the same universe. But I don't know, man. To me, this is the stupidest way to solve a problem. If you think that your cells are shit, and your problem is to relaunch the line with the same creative teams, just shuffling them around, because honestly, they don't have. I mean, yes, I'm excited that Hickman's coming back, but other than that, I can't. Or Lemire, I'm sorry, Lemire's coming back. We don't really know 100% that Hickman's coming back or not. Other than that, I don't really see any new talent coming into Marvel to be put on a new book. There just seems to be, playing the musical chairs again with creative teams. And that's good. That's okay. But it's not like they're announcing somebody big coming back to Marvel, which is what they really need. They really need some big guns. Not to say that Mark Waid isn't, but he just doesn't have, I guess, the sales power that some of these writers at DC do.
They do have the problem with like them having new people brought in, though, is that people are still just gonna say, like, who do they have left? Like, even because they have some new talents. They have Saladin Ahmed, and they have Al Ewing has been around for a few years now. They have what was the other one I was just looking at? Like, Coates is new, Cates is new, and those are the names that, like Jess was saying, like Donny Cates is a fan favorite. Al Ewing is a fan favorite. And those are names that I've come to really trust from their time working on these Marvel books, to the point where now, like, I'm, that's what gets me excited. Like, when I see new books with Kate's name on it, and I saw that Al Ewing was taking over Hulk, that, that made my pants a little tight. So that's really what's getting me going on these books. And yeah, they could get some big names back and stuff. And yeah, there's rumors that Hickman's coming back, but like, I don't know. I'm already excited about a lot of this stuff because these are the writers that I've come to really enjoy. And also, it's only the first. This is only the first like chunk of titles that we're hearing about.
And I want to be excited again. It's just I've always been a Marvel guy. X-Men was my comic book growing up, and I wish I could get that excited about it again. But it seems like, anytime we have some of these new creators, with the exception of really what I'm thinking is Jonathan Hickman on his run on Avengers and Fantastic Four, a lot of these guys don't plan to stay. They don't have like a beginning and ending. Maybe I'm sorry, Jason Aaron, like I mentioned earlier, he kind of seems to. But like, I'm just looking at some of these trade paperbacks, like the Indestructible Hulk, like just written by different teams. You have Iron Man, Superior Iron Man. Then how long was Bendis on Iron Man? Like 20 something issues, right? So a year or two. I'm sorry, 2 years. It doesn't seem like to me that's long enough for a writer to. I can't get excited that much anymore because it's like, okay, well, how long? I wasn't kidding when I said Jason Aaron and Ed McGuinness, because Ed McGuinness is going to be off that book in 5 issues. He just doesn't draw fast enough, unless for some reason, maybe like you, Ed McGuinness knew that he was going to be in this book 2 years ago and he started drawing 2 years ago. But I seriously doubt that happens. So yeah, like I wish I still had that in me, that I'm like, oh yes, Al Ewing's going to be writing Hulk. Who knows how long that's going to go. So, yeah, I am excited to an extent, though. I am excited about some of the titles are very interesting. I think Scotty Young could do a good Deadpool. I don't know how I feel about the Sentry coming back. That is I thought one of the worst characters. I thought the original Sentry miniseries by Jenkins was solid. I thought it was a great idea, and it kind of went away. And then when Brian Michael Bendis brought him back, I really thought he was going to pull an Animal Man when he brought him back. And I kind of dug that. Actually, I kind of dug that run. And then it kind of went to crap, even though they killed Alpha Flight. And then he just really, by the time he used that character, by the time that character died in Siege, I was just over and done with that character. I was so glad to see him go, finally. Because he had and the thing is, he had so much potential. He was a crazy Superman. Why shouldn't you be able to write a good story with him? So that's what part of me is like, well, maybe Lemire could bring him back and do something good, but then again, it's the Sentry, so I don't know.
Well,
I think the problem is that Omar's a little frosted that I bought Gio a comic book and I didn't buy Omar that Mustang he wanted.
That 1967 Mustang Cobra, you bastard!
We'd have a much brighter Omar today had I bought him that card.
This is true. I would have been like, oh my God, I'm going to buy all like variant copies of Sentry #1. But I think that let me see. The Deadpool book sounds really good. The Ant-Man and Wasp sound really interesting to me. And what was the other book that you mentioned that I actually the Mark Waid Doctor Strange book sounds good. What's Kate's writing?
Venom.
Venom is a character that I never, he was a character I never really got into, even with the whole Lethal Protector years and all that stuff. I thought he made a better villain when, like I've mentioned many times on this show, that when he was eating babies and brains and things like that, I thought he was more one-dimensional villain, more interesting. But so I'll give that a shot because I really like him. So I could, I do follow some creative teams. What are you?
Donny Cates is also writing the Ghost Rider miniseries.
There's another one. Who is Ghost Rider now? Is it the Hispanic kid? Is Danny Ketch back? Is Johnny Blaze back?
That's a big spoiler.
It's a futuristic cosmic Ghost Rider.
Oh wait,
it's from Thanos.
That's from the Thanos run, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind.
If you haven't read the issue where they reveal who it is in that run, then that's a spoiler. But Jess kind of said it earlier.
Well, you spoiled something, Jess. What's wrong with you?
I totally did. I just read what was on the page. I didn't know.
Yeah, and it's hard to get excited about some of these things too. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm just old, so I'm gonna keep repeating myself. The whole return of Jean Grey shit really rubbed me the wrong way. I wish he had come back unexpectedly in a comic book instead of having this 4-issue miniseries. So when you talk about characters, the solicits have already ruined some things of characters coming back. Like Bruce Banner. I mean, we all knew. I mean, who were we kidding, right? We knew he was coming back, but I kind of wish that I had read the ending of Avengers first instead of finding out through the solicitations.
Freaking Wolverine's getting like four different 4-issue miniseries for his return.
I saw that. Yeah, so yay, Marvel. I'm less excited about this. I guess I'm more excited about the black label that I wasn't excited about at all.
Now that you compare them, now you're excited about Black Label.
Yeah.
Aside from all the rant that I went on earlier about House of Lies and all that, like aside from that bullshit, like I'm pretty pumped for a lot of these teams because, like I said, these are the creators that you were saying it's just reshuffling, but like these are the creators that I've been really excited about, specifically for the last several years. So seeing these creators getting shuffled onto higher profile books makes me excited because then I'm like, oh man, it looks like Marvel's actually trying to push these creators into bigger things. The only downside on these is like the fact that Al Ewing's never been able to hold a series for longer than maybe 15 issues.
Why is that?
18. His series, I think it's just because they're such outliers and they don't always sound great on paper. Like US Avengers, which was he's a Brit and he was making a Star-Spangled Team of Avengers.
Oh yeah, they wore the Star-Spangled costumes. Those guys.
Yeah, it was Red Hulk with stars and stripes on his shorts and aviator glasses and like a giant gun or something, and it's like the most ridiculous bullshit you've ever seen, but that run was so fun. And everything that he does, he has so many different voices. He's got that kind of comedic action stuff, and he did that more or less in his New Avengers run, which didn't really do well because the first arc frankly was ass, and then after that it started getting better. His Mighty Avengers, I think, just mainly for me suffered from having Greg Land on the art, but then he had a run like the Ultimates, which was phenomenal, just a phenomenal series that had a lot of really like cosmic high concept stuff, like things that you would expect from Hickman, and that he was writing across like 20 plus issues. And they wrapped that up and I was pretty sad to see it go. So I don't know, he just doesn't have that selling power behind his name yet, and it seems like Marvel wants to push him just as much as his fans want to push him to get a title for a long amount of time. But just being frank, a title called The Immortal Hulk is not going to last that long. Like it's probably going to end and get relaunched as The Incredible Hulk because it's The Incredible Hulk. And I don't know if he'll wind up being the author on there or not. I mean, I'm excited about it. I just know that it's probably not going to last very long. But I'm going to say
I'm sure some of these titles will be gone by issue 8, or however long they're going to make a trade paperback.
I'm happy that they're actually labeling miniseries as miniseries now, instead of throwing them out there and being like, 5 issues in, all of a sudden just saying it ended, and it looks bad because it looks like they're canceling titles left and right. They have really poor retention, and then it's really that it was planned to be a miniseries all along. So that this at least is a better step, like actually labeling things as what they are, like Multiple Man and Quicksilver, who everyone knows would not be able to hold an ongoing series. But I will say I hope that Multiple Man leads towards some sort of revival team X Factor book. I missed that book.
Agreed. As far as the numbering system, this stuff really pisses me off. I've already said that a lot, that it is so confusing. Unless you keep an eye on this stuff, like I said in the last episode, unless you collect Thor, or unless you're already collecting Spider-Man and you own all the previous oversized hardcovers, this shit gets confusing when you have another number one in there. I really wish they would start labeling them as, if they're gonna do this bullshittery, they should at least, let it be season 7 Spider-Man number 1, season 8 number 1, whatever. I can deal with that, and maybe throw a legacy number somewhere in there just to give me half chubbed. Good God, I hate when they're like, they've always tried this gimmick of starting over with number 1. They have been for the longest time, and it never works. It works like they'll sell. Oh my God, we sold 85 million copies of number 1 because they had 85 million variants. And every store ordered one because you'll get one for every 200. You get the special black and white Scotty Young bling bling variant. Not Scotty Young, J. Scott Campbell or whatever. That Deadpool variant is.
Fuck.
But yeah, the numbering system is so stupid, especially for people that trade weight, because you have to do a little bit of research. Luckily, there are websites now like Crushing Crisis, like your website, and this wonderful show called OmniBros where we talk about these things, how these books should be read.
I think that at the very least, one thing they could do is include at least for that specific run, like for Thor, since this is Jason Aaron's 4th Thor series, not counting miniseries, they could add like a little map to tell you, like, this is everything Jason Aaron's written on Thor. Here's where it's collected if you want to read it.
I am going to do with Marvel what I always do, and that is I'm going to wait till they come out in trades and Riley tells me what to read.
That never fails.
That never fails. He's almost 10 for 10. I think he's 9 for 9. So I'm just going to wait. And when I get those trades, you know where I'm going to get them from? I'm going to get them from InStockTrades.com, because you can get up to 50% off collected editions. And if you live in the United States, $50 or more gets you free shipping. They also have loyalty discounts, fabulous customer service, bomb-proof packaging, and we even give away gift cards every month from IST. We had a lucky winner last week, and we'll have a lucky winner this month. Don't ask about discount codes because we don't know.
Yeah, I'm as impatient as everyone else is right now.
So while you were doing that, I was looking through the chat, and Ravinder says that they are leaving the legacy numbers on there with the number 1s, apparently. I didn't know
that'd
that.
be good.
If that's true, that's cool. That would be neat.
And then, like I said, who am I kidding? I'm gonna end up getting the Jason Aaron Thor omnibuses anyway, and then they'll tell me how to read them.
And I'm gonna read everything, and I'm gonna tell Jess what to read.
Thank you.
And then he's gonna read them, and he's gonna be like, "Damn, Riley, you were right. You're always right."
Yeah, I know. He reads everything, and he enjoys everything.
I do.
It makes me feel good. Like it makes me feel like I'm good at something in my life.
You are excellent at it.
I think, Jess, this is like, you do like a lot of things, and I think that's wonderful that you're a good human being. You're not jaded, right? Like most people your age are like, "Oh, that book sucks." I'm never like. I remember meeting guys at conventions that were like, seriously. I remember Sins Past. You remember that storyline in Spider-Man, Straczynski's Spider-Man? They were like, "I have been reading Spider-Man for 30 years. No more. I'm done with Spider-Man. Fuck that character. He is dead to me." Like, has that ever happened to you? Has anybody written such a crappy story about one of your favorite characters that you're like, I'm done. I'm out. I can't read about this character anymore?
No, that's never happened. I just if it's a bad story, I just wait for it to be over and a better writer to come along. I wouldn't give up on a character that I really loved. Good.
That seems like the normal sane thing to do. Like the other way, like because I've seen people do that too, and they'll say like, "I've been collecting Spider-Man since the 60s when issue 1 came out, and now with this storyline, I am done forever." And I'm like, that just seems like the very childish, immature thing to do. And like Jess said, like just wait for that story to be done and then go back to it when it's over, because everyone knows everything in comics goes back to the way it always was.
You have no idea how big the grin on my face was when I read Brian Michael Bendis was leaving X-Men.
Everything goes back.
Yeah, not that it got great all of a sudden, but you know, it had its moments. But yeah, I'm the same way. I'll wait around. Like there have been some crappy writers on Wolverine, and I always tend to go back to that character.
Spencer Welsh asks, Omnibros dude, I am OmniDog, not Omnibros dude. Just so you know, Spencer. I'm just saying. Where did you get those plexiglass frames with your bombshell variants? Target. Target sells them.
I'm sorry, is Target one of our sponsors? No.
Sorry, ISD doesn't sell frames.
You're loyal to one store and one store only.
That's right.
Until we get IKEA and Target to sponsor us.
Yeah.
Man, I remember talking about, like, after we were talking about the IST one, like, all the different places, and I was like, IKEA, and Big Bad Toy Store, and Nintendo. Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. So, yeah, that's what I feel. I'm still going to read this shit. I'm just going to bitch about it.
You're not going to say, like, what? They put Ghost Rider in space? Fuck this and fuck comics. I'm done forever.
No, I've read Ghost Rider 2099. I'll stick around.
Do you want to? Do you feel like we've wrapped this up? Would you like to take a few minutes and answer some questions?
Well, I wanted to ask if you guys had if there are any books and any teams that you are hoping get announced for future books from this new quote-unquote fresh start at Marvel.
Sure. Chris Claremont and John Byrne on Uncanny X-Men. A man can dream, right? Like Chris Claremont writing good stories again, and John Byrne not being a dick and coming back to Marvel. Oh my god! Marvel, I will take back everything I just said. And you know it's gonna be a shit fest too. It's not gonna be good at all. They're gonna be retconning. It's gonna be Sage as the leader of the X-Men, and Maggot's coming back for some unknown reason. But I'll still read it.
I got a question. John Byrne, Fantastic Four. Is that something that you feel is like a really great run?
I read the first of the two Omnis. I still haven't read the second one, and I really, really enjoyed it. And let me say also about that, I bought it originally when it came out because I thought that the part where She-Hulk joins was in that first volume, and it's not. But even though my intended reason for buying it was completely not in that book, I was not disappointed. I was very happy.
John Byrne showed how damn good of a writer he was during that run. Like Alpha Flight's pretty solid too. Those first few issues of Alpha Flight were damn good, damn fun. A lot of those issues were very experimental too. But in Fantastic Four, man, he wrote some awesome adventures, some really dark and sad crap that happened to the family. Real stuff that people deal with. It was, I want to say, honestly, it's up there. If I had to pick the top 3 creators on Fantastic Four, I know Gabe would kill me, but it would have to be John Byrne's run, Jonathan Hickman, and Mark Waid's run. Those would be my top 3 of all time. I respect Stan Lee, and I'm a big what was it, Tom DeFalco, and I can't remember the writer's name and Chris Claremont even wrote some, but those 3 would be the ones that I would go with. That's the epitome of what a good Fantastic Four story arc would be.
The reason I'm asking is because I sold in the big omnibus sell-off. I sold my John Byrne Omnis, and it's getting a reprint. Now, my wife, who isn't home right now, so I can say whatever the hell I want.
This reminds me of that Kill and Peele sketch. I said, bitch. I said, what? Anyway, I'm sorry, Jess.
That's right. We almost called this episode "Shut Up, Bitch."
That's true.
So I am contemplating rebuying it because I heard it was so good. So that's why I asked the question.
You never got to read it?
I didn't get to read it. No.
You just sold it? You flipped it. You're a flipper.
I didn't flip it. I sold it.
He's a madman. You know what you could do is there were a series, if I'm not mistaken, of Visionaries paperbacks, and I'm pretty sure that most of them are in print. You could buy the first volume of that and try it out.
Jess, if I still have mine, I think I sold most of them, but if I still had mine, I'll ship them your way. My Visionaries.
That is Fantastic Four the Omnibus got collected from those Visionary runs.
Right.
The Omnibus had it more, but the Visionaries run I think there were 8 volumes.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. If you can't, that's fine. I will get the Omni when it comes out. It's I can budget for that.
Or can you?
We'll have to see. I'm getting like one book next week, Irredeemable.
I think I've got a few lined up, but I'm not. I blew my proverbial wad on the first week, and as I always do, and I'm stuck waiting for next month to order the rest of my stuff unless I make a sale on something.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do have some books coming out next week. Can't remember why, because I ended up buying that stupid ass Absolute Wildcats like an absolute idiot.
You did buy it? That is funny.
I'm sure Omar is happy to hear that.
Gabe is?
You mean Gabe, the other Latino?
Gabe is the other. We're all at least part Latino except for Jess.
I'm sure he's had a Latino in him.
I'm part Cherokee. I know that.
Why? Because you own like a 2 Wolf shirt that you bought at a flea market?
No, because my grandmother was a Cherokee, so shut up.
I'm fucking with you, man.
I know.
Yeah, I got that Absolute because I'm like, okay, well, next week I got to order books anyway, so I might as well get the loyalty discount. And I might as well get this shitty book that I know I'm not ever going to read.
Oh, my God.
Because I tried reading that even as a 15-year-old. I'm like, man, this writing sucks balls. I think Peter M. actually likes that stuff. Maybe him and Gabe can have an episode where they talk about how awesome Wildstorm writing was. I mean,
Peter M. did a huge read through of everything Wildstorm.
He read that stuff. I mean,
recently.
To me, it didn't get good until when they had like actual writers come in and write that stuff. Because it seems like it was just like Jim Lee and his college buddies, or they got together and started coming up with these ideas. But basically, I think Gio put it the best way. He was like, "Man, you got yourself an art book with like a couple word bubbles in them."
Dang, man!
Thanks for putting it like that, Gio, because that made me feel so much better.
Damn,
that's good.
Is anybody getting Nailbiter Volume 2? I might get that.
I will.
I got to get it up to $50 for that. Free shipping from IST, so I may get Irredeemable and Nailbiter.
And Absolute Wildcats. You know it.
No, I am not getting Absolute Wildcats.
Spencer Welch. No, John Byrne's run is not on Omnibus format. On Hulk. He's asking if John Byrne's Hulk is in Omni format. And they just released one Visionary of his John Byrne Visionary Hulk.
It wasn't the whole thing?
No. I think they could have done two more after that. So leave it to Marvel.
Yeah, their fucking Visionaries line is a mess.
Yeah, I still have my 8 Hulks by Peter David in there that line up perfectly with the new epics.
Yeah, so there was definitely some sort of plan there is what they were trying to do.
Yeah,
but
the guys
annoying.
The guys, well, I'm surprised they didn't go back and like reprint some of these Visionaries because some of them are out of print. So, this right here,
Volume 5 is way out of print.
This is nothing but a big chunk of just beautiful Peter David writing right here. It's so nice to have it on my bookshelf. I just wish that they would go ahead and start reprinting some of these.
I'm sure they will. Like that, there are some there's some really awesome people that work in Marvel's collective department team now.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's very clear that they know about some of these things. Like the Visionaries line stopped at this point, and which gaps there are in the X-Men books. And we talked about this the last time we were both on, Omar, and about the X-Men stuff, and how it really seems like there's a tangible map out there of all this stuff.
Yes.
And it seems like, and I don't know if it's all like, if it's York and Settlemyre or who it is that's so cognizant of these things, but it's been fan freaking tastic, because so many of these books that get solicited are like, the average fan is not going to give two shits, but someone like me or you, a collector of these collected editions who's been waiting for these gaps to be filled, is like really, you know, to quote you, at half mast or half chub.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on that hardcover to fill in that gap between Mutant Massacre and Fall of the Mutants.
Yes, yeah, that is one that
I'm sure it's coming. Or, you know, of course I would rather have an Uncanny X-Men Omni Volume 4 by Chris Claremont, and I guess that would be John Romita Jr. But man, oh god, own that complete run like that on oversized hardcover. Jess, it's like you going on about your Legion of Superheroes, and it's just nice, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and there's people in the chat. You guys are absolutely right. Hulk needs another omnibus, not just those Greg Pak stuff. I think he's got what, 3 Omnis, right? The original run, and then he's got the 2 Pak books. And then Pak went on to write more than that, because I own a couple of those oversized hardcovers, so they have enough there. But man, to get some of that Peter David stuff, because I mean, you got like early McFarlane, you've got Eric Larson, you got Del Keown, all these Image people that were drawing Hulk at the time, and then you eventually get Angel Medina, Gary Frank, Paul Pelletier, Jander Zima. Man, he had a lot of talent with him working on that book.
There's not that much left. As far as, like, I think they're going to have 2, maybe 1, maybe 2 epics left for that run on Hulk before they finish collecting it. And then I'm hoping that they pull one of those where they're like, as soon as they finish the paperbacks, boom, we get a solicit for a hardcover. And I'm going to look like the dumbass that spent the money, you know, on the paperbacks that's about to go sell them and buy the hardcover, but I'm also going to be the guy that doesn't really give a shit.
That's the guy to be. That's the guy to be. Omnipool says Jeff Loeb's Hulk needs an omnibus. See, that was the Red Hulk stuff, wasn't it?
That was where they first introduced the Red Hulk. It was after World War Hulk, when Greg Pak was taking a break from writing the Hulk.
And didn't they come out with 2 oversized hardcovers?
3 oversized hardcovers. I actually have
that collects the whole run. Yeah, I kept the 6 normal size hardcovers that kind of fake you out into thinking that they were oversized because of how tall they were, but they're just, you know, standard. They're taller than the average Marvel Premiere hardcover, believe it or not.
Are they?
Yeah, but they're not oversized at all. It's stupid.
That's weird.
Yeah, man, if you like that run, I hope they do release it. I can think of other Hulk books that deserve an Omni treatment, but that's me.
I can stand on my soapbox and start talking about the Jeff Parker Red Hulk run.
That followed.
That was right after Loeb,
right? Yeah. That was a good run. Yeah, Loeb's. Honestly, Loeb's was stupid fun.
Yeah, exactly.
It was
like a blockbuster movie type of fun.
Yeah, like the mystery was so ridiculous. It's like, I think it could have been anybody, and I would have been okay with that. It wouldn't have made any sense. Could have been Betty. And I would have been like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Sure, Jeff Loeb, whatever.
Well, speaking of Betty, she did wind up being the Red She-Hulk.
That's right.
But I think that the okay, so Jeff Loeb's Hulk, it's stupid fun, and it could have been even better had it been about half the length. There was just a lot of random shit that he threw in there that didn't really need to be in there. But the whole mystery behind it was pretty fun, and especially like once you find out who it is, I was like, actually, this works so well. Not at this moment exactly, but later in the storyline when all of a sudden like Thunderbolt Ross has the revelations of like, oh shit, like I made myself into what I hate. And he has to deal with that. And then he becomes an enemy of the state. And we go into the Jeff Parker run where he's being, chased down by the military. So he can't even turn back into himself. And he's just stuck as, the Red Hulk. And that to me was pretty fantastic.
I think Jeff Loeb was like had no idea who the Red Hulk was going to be, just to keep fans guessing. What's up, Gabe? And it was by the time everybody had guessed just about every cast member of the Hulk book, he was like, sure, eeny meeny miny mo, Thunderbolt Ross. That's the way it felt. But somebody was asking, is the Dark Tower, are they continuing with those books? I thought they just had a recent run.
Yes, yeah. There's a current. I don't know if it's running right now, but there's like the drawing of 3 is the third phase of those.
And there's not enough yet to fill an omnibus of that, right? Because I think they've only done 2 or 3 of those. I think they need a total of like 6 or 7 miniseries. Because you're talking about 30, 35 issues. That would be a good omnibus size. So yeah. I hope they continue them because I really like those, especially when Jay Lee was working on them.
Sledge asks me, I'm
gonna answer for you.
Go ahead. Oh no, the previous Sledge question. You can answer the second Sledge question.
The second Sledge question about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Just
exactly.
Like, what's a Ninja Turtle?
Yeah, that's like me reading my playlist. Jess, is the new Daredevil Omnibus any good? I still have not recovered from Shadowland, though the black costume is dope. I did not read Shadowland. I haven't read it. If you're talking about the new Mark Waid Omnibus, I really like Mark Waid's Daredevil. It's much different than Brubaker and Bendis's. It's lighter. So if you're talking about Mark Waid's Daredevil, yes, I like it. And then Omar can handle my question about IDW continuing Image Comics run of TMNT.
Yeah, I take all the Jess questions that are of this decade, the last 2 decades.
Yeah, anything pre-1970, I'll answer.
Riley, Gabe, did you guys read those? The IDW or the Image Turtle run?
Mm-mm.
Like Eric Larson?
Because of his Eric Larson doing the art.
Yeah, I dug it. It was different, and so they never finished it. They never wrapped it up. And for some reason, out of the blue, IDW has decided to, hey, let's finish it. This weird, not really loved Ninja Turtle storyline that started at Image. They're gonna go ahead and finish it at IDW. I don't know who the same writer, but I can't remember who the artist is gonna be. So that's kind of a shock considering how many weird projects that IDW has canceled. Like my Transformers UK collection, Volume 6, I've been waiting 2 years for. Motherfuckers. Anyway.
They're calling you Gabe the Babe.
That's a fact. Thank you, everybody. Someone's got to keep the good looks around here.
Okay.
And I'm the bald one, too, so there.
Bald is back, man.
That is correct.
Yep, the curtains match the carpet as well.
And somebody's been drinking. Okay.
Not yet.
No, he is high. He's high on that Infinity Gauntlet box set.
Dude, you don't even know. You don't even know. I wish I could vape that fucking thing.
Get it all in a wood chipper and then put it in a packet into a bowl.
Oh man.
How is it, man? How do you like holding that? Like how do you feel about having that much 90s crap fest, about 2/3 of it being not so great?
Wait, I don't understand the question. There's no such thing as 90s crap fest.
Oh man. No, honestly, that was a big thing. Like day one, did you know you were gonna buy that box?
Oh yeah, the moment they announced it and it was like solicited, I knew it was fate that I was going to get that fucking thing.
Well, I avoided it because I had the Infinity Gauntlet Omnibus, and I'm still hoping for an Infinity War Omnibus. But my question is, does it have the final like Infinity Stories by Jim Starlin? You know, the graphic novel one shots that he did. Does that wrap that series up, or does it, or they leave them out?
Oh, which ones are you talking about? The Jim Starlin ones?
The ones he did like in the mid odds, right before. I can't remember if it was after Annihilation or before Annihilation. But
No,
like,
'cause this is all like within the same. Almost the whole thing is basically the entire '90s stuff,
okay.
wrapped up with like the Avengers and Infinity Gauntlet stuff from like 2014, and it even has the new Infinity Gauntlet stuff from Secret War is in there.
What was it? The end of the Marvel universe.
Oh,
Thanos,
Marvel the end, that stuff? No, that's not in there.
Okay.
No, I don't think that's considered like canon or real or whatever.
Oh, I'm glad
Or
you got it.
Or the Cosmic Powers, none of the Cosmic Powers stuff either is in there. But
I'm glad you got it, brother.
speaking of badass, that Absolute Wildcats is fucking badass too. You'll find out soon, Omar.
I will. You're gonna do a video review of that too?
I definitely am. Yeah, I just the
I'm
one.
gonna do a counter review. I'm gonna call it "Why You Should Not Spend Your Money Buying This Piece of Overpriced Crap."
And then there's gonna be like a 5-second video. Come on,
like me. Oh, dude, whenever you show the picture of the pullout, the gatefold pulled out, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I made the right, like, I obviously did the right thing here buying this thing because that.
Oh, dude, there's
that
like
pullout
4 or
was
5 of those pull-out pages, man.
Yeah, oh, those gatefold things always had me when I was.
They're massive, dude. Like Peter M called it the wingspan. I'm like, yeah, that thing has a wingspan of Michael Jordan. Like, it's massive.
That
And
was
it's all oversized. Like, it's the first time that Absolute had like gatefolded like pages like that.
Didn't Promethea have some? Maybe I don't know. I don't own it because I never.
I don't own Promethea because volume was it 2 or 1? One of them was like
one.
stupid out of print. Yeah,
It is.
But yeah, I have the Infinity Gauntlet Omnibus and I have like the Infinity Crusade trades, and that was it. Like, I didn't have any of the Infinity Adam Warlock stuff collected or anything like that. So
did you keep your Omnibus to trade in for this box set, or did you get rid of it? No, you still have it because I remember you taking a picture of it.
yeah, no, I have it. Yeah, I still have that thing ain't going anywhere. It's over there on the floor. But yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, if anybody's interested, you can watch my review Tuesday when we do hauls. I hauled hard this last week, so
Monday
we'll talk more about it on there.
Monday we do hauls.
Monday, I'm sorry, whatever.
Okay, I didn't know if you and Jess were starting another day because he seems to be on every day.
We could. I was talking about doing bad movie night or something.
Are Riley, Jess? Are you guys getting the box set? I think Jess said he was going to.
Yeah, I am. It's coming tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you guys get that shit quick, dude. Oh, from In Stock Trades.
It's a 50-pound box.
Yeah, no, dude. Did you see the picture I posted? I weighed it. It's 38 pounds. Just the box itself.
Jeez. They packed it really good, though.
No, well, the box itself from Marvel is in the box that's inside of a box, and that box is nothing but styrofoam. Like, it's 2 styrofoam like cubes like packed into it with like more cardboard protection along the edges. It's a bit of a task to get it out of that box. So I don't think In Stock Trades need to pack it any more than it already is. They probably just slapped a label on it and sent it.
I think it's going to come with 4,000 pounds of peanuts in it is what it's going to have.
Just everywhere. You're going to be just swimming in peanuts. You're going to have to open that thing outside.
Oh, man, my wife always hated it when I opened that thing in there and the girls were little and they would jump in the box. I'd be so happy and like looking at my books like I'm an idiot. I'm like, oh my gosh, new epic Spider-Man. And she's
I get it. I'm playing around with this huge, massive Infinity Gauntlet box set, and my kids are jumping in the box and playing with all the foam inside of it.
I wish I was that excited over a box. I wouldn't be spending $62.50 on Absolute Wildcats.
You're gonna be excited when that box comes. It's gonna be the best box you've ever seen. All the innuendos you want to make that.
I know what I'm getting into. So yeah, I got it. Was there any more questions in the chat about the boxes? Riley, you're not getting it, right? You're passing.
Riley, can you hear me?
Oh, you might be on mute.
Oh, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Yeah, I think my dog hit the button on the headphones. But yeah, I passed on that one because it would take up my entire budget, and I've got the contents, or at least the vast majority of it, in paperback, and I just felt like if I'm not, I'll upgrade if they release Omnis for that stuff, but if it's just the standard size hardcovers, as nice as they look,
they do look nice.
Like, and I watched Gabe's video when he posted it, and they look phenomenal. They look greatly built, great quality books, but I already have the paperback, so it would be almost a lateral movement as far as quality for me. If they released an Infinity War and Infinity Crusade omnibus, sure, I'd jump on that. But I don't think I'm going to do the box set unless it pennies out or something, but I doubt it. I think this is going to be the most popular of the box sets they've released.
I think you're exactly right. I think this thing's going to sell out.
Yeah.
Go out of print.
Yeah, it's going to be out of print.
If it goes out of print, though, how long would it be before they re-release it?
Have they ever reprinted a box set before? That seemed like a lot of work.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I figure with something like this, they would have a higher print number, though, with the movie coming out.
I heard there's not that many left at Diamond, so
if you want it,
get it.
God, you're gonna have so many people selling blood, sperm, plasma tomorrow, like trying to get this box set.
And
I like how so
Absolute
many
Wildcats.
people who were talking shit about the Absolute Wildcats, changed their mind on it also.
yeah, I can't make that commitment either.
Yeah, Riley, come on.
I'm spent, man. I'm spent for this month. There's
you
lot of
can
books
always pick
coming
it
out.
up later. You don't need to get it today, but yeah, you should.
He's got to
But
save
then
his
I
money.
miss out.
The rest of the crappy Batman books he needs to buy.
No, I'm done with the crappy. There's no more crappy Batman books. I got all of them.
Oh, my friend.
There's plenty more crappy
There's
Batman
a lot more crappy.
There's always crappy. Well, speaking of crappy Batman books,
you say Nightfall, I'm gonna punch you.
I did read. No, I like Nightfall, at least the first part of Nightfall. But speaking of crappy Batman books, I did read Daredevil Shadowland this past week.
Huh? I started reading it. I've never read it, so
I hadn't read it either. And it gets so much shit, but I actually wound up. I didn't read the tie-ins. I just read the main story, everything by Diggle, and I really wound up enjoying it. Like, it's not perfect by any means, and it doesn't stand up as great as Bendis or Brubaker's runs on Daredevil were that preceded it, but it was a lot of fun. Like, I actually was engrossed enough that I finished half of the story in one sitting.
I did too. I liked it. I'm about 6 chapters in, and I like the way that the Omni is set up too.
Yes.
It's like you get a book of Shadowland, then you get Daredevil 611, and then you get Shadowland Forward, and the next Daredevil, and then they give you like Daredevil 612, which is the final story towards after all the mini-series tie-in. And then you get the Aftermath and then the Reborn, whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, I like Fall from Grace. I like Daredevil stories when his costume changes. That is probably the stupidest way I can review a book. I like that story because his costume was black and he had spikes on his arm. He was badass.
That was badass.
Fall from Grace was badass, man. Scott McDaniel on artwork. But no, I'm enjoying it too because I heard nothing but horrible things about.
Yeah, so you have those bottomed out expectations already. So basically, if it's enjoyable at all, it's like, this is pretty good.
Not so bad. Not so bad. Yeah, of course, that's not always the case. Sometimes those bottom out expectations are there for a reason.
Well, I think in this case it's decent. I'm gonna say, popcorn action type stuff, but above Loeb Hulk. And it's really cool idea. Matt Murdock becoming the shogun of the hand, and
Well, yeah, that was all done by Brubaker, right?
yeah, he leads up to that, and that's like the finale of Brubaker's stuff is like he's told that he's gonna be the new shogun of the hand, and then Diggle actually proceeds with like the first story is that the list one shot where Bullseye fucks his shit up, and Murdoch realizes like shit, I could have used the hand and taken him out and saved all these people, and that's when the catalyst to him deciding, all right, I'll do it. And it just the story led to some really interesting places. It has some earlier artwork from Marco Cicchetto in there.
Yep,
which is fantastic.
That guy's an awesome artist, and I don't know what is he working on now, because if he's not working on anything,
Old Man Hawkeye.
Who's writing that?
Some novelist. I don't remember their name. It's 2 issues in. It's pretty enjoyable.
Oh, okay.
But mostly Marco Cicchetto's artwork is fantastic. There's like I'm just gonna lay out the scene that I remember right now from the most recent issue. But they go into like this old Western style town, and there's like Sheriff Bullseye and it's like Jamie Madrox and his own gang of Madroxes, and it's just ridiculous.
Where does Shadowland fit in all the Daredevil Omnis? I don't own it, and I haven't read it.
Oh, then you're missing that perfect spot right between your Brubaker and your Wade, just for Shadowland, right there.
Okay.
Yeah, Bendis, Brubaker, Wade, or Bendis, Brubaker, Shadowland, Wade, and then after Wade is I
kind of have to get it.
Oh, yep. Now you got to get it, dude, because otherwise people are gonna make fun of you. They're gonna be like,
they already do. Haven't you heard me read my playlist? They already do.
Right, we do.
Does it collect the End of Days miniseries?
No.
Okay.
Well, guys, I'm gonna head out. It's been like an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, you've been on a long time. It's great.
So I'm gonna peace out. I actually haven't even eaten dinner, and then I'm gonna read some comics before bed.
All right, man. Thanks for joining us, Riley.
Yeah, thanks for.
Right. Take care, bud.
Before you leave, where can they find you on the internet?
Oh, you can find my channel. I think it's Ryleymo on YouTube, and you can look up the OmnibusCollector.com and the Facebook group and all that good stuff. And I mentioned it last time, but if you look up Ed Brubaker on Google Images, you'll see me on there too.
Okay, I'm going to do that right now.
Everyone should do it.
I think you tried last time, remember?
It's like on the 3rd row. It's on there.
What am I looking at? Ed Brubaker?
Yeah, look up Ed Brubaker. I'm gonna head out, guys. Thanks for the awesome night.
Thanks, Riley.
Y'all
Have
later.
a good night, brother.
Good night, guys.
Later.
Okay, wait a sec. Images.
Are you guys picking up? You keep looking. Are you guys picking up Absolute Swamp Thing, or are you going to wait for an Omni? I say I'm not going to, that I'll wait for an omnibus, but as soon as I see the stupid book in Gabe or Jess's hand, and they're showing pictures of the beautiful coloring, I'm going to be like, shit, now I have to have it or I'm going to get kicked out of the club. I like to think I'm stronger than that. I can wait till the omnibus because we know it's going to come.
Well, why would you want the omnibus? Just because of the other Swamp Thing omnibus?
No, I'm not even picking that up. Just because I think it would be an easier price point for me justifying upgrading these hardcovers because it's not 3 volumes of absolutes. I think that they can do it in 2 omnis instead of paying $100, $300 or however much they end up costing.
No, I'm into the absolute, bro. I'm 100% in for that.
I think it's smart for them to do that.
I want to see the recoloring first.
Yeah, I think the recoloring they're gonna go the way of Sandman, where you can barely notice it's there, but it's there. and it looks damn solid, like it belonged with the book to begin with.
Yeah, it's probably one of those recolorings where it's just to kind of match the current paper stock, because you can't put recoloring on shitty ass, newsprint.
Oh yeah, Brian K. There's no denying it. You're gonna have to wait a long time for that omnibus. These absolutes would have to. I mean, I'm talking at least a minimum of waiting 3 more years for an omnibus.
If that, I mean, they might just keep it in print like Sandman, right? So it might be one of those evergreen titles.
Well, remember the Sandman omnibus didn't come until like 4 years after the absolutes did.
And remember, it was my idea to tell Jim Lee to put this into an absolute. So
this was your idea then.
Yeah, you guys can all blame me. You're welcome.
Good job, man. Jim Lee was like, I never heard of these absolutes you speak of.
Yeah, he puts one out for his Wildcats.
I'm sorry, kid. Who are you? What are you doing at my table?
No, I'm going to get the absolutes because I have a couple of the regular hardcovers and I can't find the rest. But I just think the art deserves that oversized treatment for sure. I mean, it's the same as how people are complaining about something being standard hardcover and something being omnibus. It's really not much of a difference. But I think with an absolute, there was a big difference in the art. And I think absolutes are probably 275% easier to read than an omnibus. Give or take 5%.
That's because you have weak wrists, man. You can't hold a omnibus like a real man.
Well, not everybody has all that wrist exercises in the shower like you do.
Zinga.
You don't have to help him with the sound effects.
Omar, can you read phase 2 of Transformers without reading phase 1?
Yes.
Yes, you absolutely can. As a matter of fact, like some people get bored with phase 1. Phase 2 is an awesome jumping on point because all you have to know is that the battle between the Autobots and the Decepticons is over after millions of years.
And Optimus Prime goes, "I'm out," and ditches everybody.
Well, that's where phase 2 begins.
Right.
Though.
That starts there.
That's all you need to know. As long as you know the Decepticons bad, Autobots good, you can start reading it there, and it's so good. It's such a great.
Where does All Hell Megatron fall? I forget.
That was in phase 1. That was probably halfway through phase 1. And that was a pretty. That started like a really cool storyline where the Decepticons had taken over Earth. Yeah,
I mean, phase 1. That's what I was trying to get to. Phase 1, you can read Last Stand of Wreckers, All Hell Megatron. You don't need to, but that's really like the really cool, fun stuff in it. And you can just jump right into phase 2 right away because that whole like Lost Light stuff when they're out, in space and they have like the whole like kind of like aliens movie theme in the first couple arcs. That stuff's really cool.
Yeah, oh, it's awesome. Sledge says I do crunches with my Conan omnibus. Dude, I do crunches with my Little Nemo, giant size Little Nemo.
Yeah, and you knock over
the laptop destroyer. Will Claremont Lee X-Men get a reprint?
I hope so, man. That book needs to. Those books need to be staying in print. Like they've only done one printing of that book.
Yeah, I agree. I think that gets a reprint.
It's ridiculous some of the things that haven't been reprinted.
They've done 3 printings of Claremont's giant size X-Men run. Like the X-Men 1 by Claremont and Cockrum and John Byrne. That's been reprinted 3 times. But for some reason the Claremont, because I don't think it's probably the time of X-Men that wasn't selling that well. It's the Australian Outback, but that's like one of my favorite time in the X-Men. So
you got Rogue in that outfit.
Oh yeah. So those need to stay in print along with the other Claremont X-Men.
Well, a lot of that stuff needs to be reprinted. I mean, X-Men Volume 1, like the original Kirby Lee stuff, is ridiculously priced and hard to find. All that Silver Age stuff, should stay in print if in a perfect world.
Yeah, that's why I was curious about the sales, like how much these things actually sell. I can't go into a chat without somebody bringing out the crying.
Shit.
All right, guys. I think I'm kind of beat, so I'm gonna call it a night. You two can stay and answer questions if you want. This has been fun.
I'm ready to call this. I think it's been a good episode. And we'll just end before we tell everybody where they can find us. I'll just say for the last and not final time, because I'm going to say it every episode, Please visit In Stock Trades, where you can get up to 50% off on your collected editions, where for $50 or more, you get free shipping in the United States, loyalty discounts, bomb-proof packaging, and the best customer service ever. InStockTrades.com. IST.
Infinity Gauntlet's 42% off. It's awesome. $290. Grab it.
And if you buy $50 before that, if you buy Absolute Wildcats, you can get an additional 2% off of that.
That's right. I paid $280 for my box set because I ordered trade paperbacks that morning.
So if you make 2 purchases, you can do that. I'm sorry, you were saying, where can they find Gabe? Gabe, where can they find you?
You can find me here on YouTube on my account as Gabe Infinity Watch, where that Infinity Gauntlet box set video is up and running. I'll be doing that Absolute Wildcats one pretty soon. You can find me also here on OmniBros Mondays for the haul and releases and what you read episodes. And I'm on the Facebook group as well. So I'll see you there.
How about you, Omar Dog? Where can they find you?
They can find me on my channel called Near Mint Condition. We have a new episode every Thursday where I cheat on these guys with a group of my friends. And I'm also on the Facebook group and on OmniBros try to make it every Monday and Thursday at least with these 2 fine gentlemen.
Omar, do you mention us to your other people?
Nah, they don't know you fuckers exist.
No, I mean,
I'm just kidding.
so you don't talk
kidding.
about OmniBros on Near Mint Condition? Like, come on.
I do. Actually, some of my 2 of my co-hosts have joined the chat before to watch us live, and sometimes because we're all on the same playlist, so the one of them has the shows on automatic play while they drive to work because he's a lawyer and he drives like an hour and a half to work every day.
I think one of your co-hosts just joined the Facebook group, didn't they?
Maddie, yeah. Maddie does the cosplay stuff, but she's been getting into comics for like the last year. Yeah, she's awesome. And Spencer, welcome to your first live show. I love when new people join the chat. That's awesome.
Right on, Spencer. Welcome to Omnibros I hope you survived the experience.
Well
Is that what the thing was from X-Men? Is that what it was?
That's exactly what it was.
Cool.
As you put on your lipstick, like this is Silence of the Lambs, making it really creepy.
And I'm tucking it back.
I hope you're wearing pants.
And I'm tucking it back. These big lips and this dry ass weather in Vegas, man. I need chapstick on a regular basis. That's a fact.
You can find me, OmniDog, at OmniDog's Vault on YouTube, and you can find me also on Instagram, OmniDogs_Vault, and I am also on Ryleymo's Facebook page, the Omnibus Collectors Comic Swap and Community. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. You've been a wonderful audience. Had great questions, great chat, and we will see you again on Monday.
Good night, everybody.
Peace and love.
Bye, everybody. Hit us up on Instagram, OmniBrosLive on Instagram too. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, and give us a like and subscribe to this channel, OmniBros Live.
There.
We're almost at 1,000 mark, man. That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, tell your parents, siblings, whomever. Make fake accounts. We don't care. We just got to hit that 1,000.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.